Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where we sift through some really interesting source material, pull out the key insights for you.
Yeah, the goal is to get you informed quickly, maybe spark a few thoughts along the way.
Exactly. And remember, every deep dive, including this one, is uniquely put together just for you, our listener.
So today we're digging into Khaled Hosseini's And the Mountains Echoed. We've got these excerpts focusing on two stories set in Afghanistan.
And they're incredibly poignant narratives, aren't they? Really looking at family, sacrifice, loss.
And how those things stick with people, how they echo, you could say.
Nicely put. So our mission, if you will, is to explore the big themes in these specific pieces. We want to understand the tough, maybe impossible choices the characters face.
And hopefully uncover some of the deeper meaning behind what they go through.
Okay, let's jump in. The first story introduces us to Baba Aayub. It's 1952.
Right, 1952. He's a farmer in this place called Maiden Sabs. The text makes it clear it's a pretty desolate village.
Desolate is the word. Hardworking guy, though. Big family he clearly cherishes.
Yeah, a wife, 5 kids in total. But there's a special focus on the youngest, Caes. He's 3, full of energy, apparently a sleepwalker.
Yeah, wears a little bell so they can hear him.
Exactly. But what really hits you early on is how tough life is there. The excerpt really contrasts Maiden Sabs with other luckier villages nearby.
Oh, absolutely. It paints such a stark picture. We're talking dusty, mountains all around, hardly any water.
Years of drought, the river's barely a trickle, these people are already on the edge.
Just surviving day to day is a struggle. And then something else arrives, something terrifying.
The div, yeah. This creature from folklore, huge, horns, red eyes. The ground literally shakes when it comes down from the mountains.
Pure nightmare fuel.
You can imagine. The villagers are absolutely petrified. They've heard the stories. They know what the div demands if it stops at your house.
One child.
One child. It's this chilling demand. And they know the div lives up in this mountain fort.
A place no one comes back from, supposedly.
Yeah.
Dungeons, horrors.
Right. So the fear must have been just suffocating. Everyone praying it passes them by. Because if it taps...
It's this impossible choice. Give up one child or maybe lose them all.
And then it happens. That tap comes on Baba Aayub's roof.
Oh, man.
The agony in that moment, as described. Baba Aayub cries out. His wife collapses. The kids are terrified. They have until dawn.
Until dawn to choose. What do you even do? How can you possibly choose?
It's almost unthinkable. The text mentions they believe not choosing condemns all the children.
Yeah.
So with dawn breaking and no decision made, Baba Aayub comes up with this awful lottery.
A lottery of loss.
He gets 5 stones, same size, writes each child's name on one, puts them in a sack. He tries to give it to his wife.
Did she do it?
No, she just breaks down, so it falls on him. He has to draw the stone.
And he picks Caes, his youngest.
Just devastating. The way he lifts Caes and the little boy just wraps his arms around his dad's neck, totally trusting.
Oh, heartbreaking.
It's only when Baba Aayub puts him outside and shuts the door that Caes realizes something's wrong. You hear his little fists on the door, crying for his Baba.
And the div takes him.
The ground trembles, the div arrives and takes him away. Silence afterwards, just Baba Aayub weeping, asking for forgiveness.
Who's he asking? His son. Himself.
Maybe all of the above. Then there's this 40-day mourning period. Villagers offer what little comfort they can. But Baba Aayub, he withdraws completely.
Consumed by grief.
Totally. And he's convinced everyone thinks he's a coward for giving up his son. He won't talk, won't work.
So is that just in his head, or is that maybe what the village does think, unspoken?
It's hard to say for sure from the excerpt, but it certainly feels like his internal torment is projecting outwards. He just sits there staring at the mountains, haunted.
His other sons have to take over the farm work. His wife tries to reach him, but he's lost in it.
But then something shifts. He gets this idea. Revenge.
He decides to go after the div.
Exactly. He sets off on this incredibly difficult journey to find the div's fort. Days of walking, cold nights, barely any food. His shoes fall apart.
But he keeps going. Is it just revenge? Or maybe something else driving him? Like trying to find some meaning or doing penance?
That's a great question. It feels like more than just revenge, maybe a desperate need to do something, to confront the source of his pain.
So he finally gets to the mountain, climbs it, ignoring the danger. He's totally focused.
Single-minded. He reaches the fort's gates and yells out that he's there to kill the div.
What does the div do?
Well, it's surprised, maybe even a bit amused at first. But something about Baba Aayub, maybe his sheer lack of fear, makes the div pause.
And it lets him in.
Invites him inside. And this is where it gets really unexpected.
Because it's not dungeons and torture chambers.
Not at all. He's led into this unbelievably beautiful garden. Green, lush, full of kids playing, laughing, happy, healthy children.
And Caes is there.
Caes is there, thriving, playing, but he doesn't see his father, doesn't recognize him or hear him.
Wow, so the div wasn't just a monster.
It seems not. The div explains it was all a test of Baba Aayub's love. Choosing one child, as agonizing as it was, apparently saved the others from some worse fate, some curse.
A curse. Left vague, though.
Very vague. But now Baba Aayub faces another choice. Choice number 2.
Okay, what is it?
He can take Caes home, back to Maiden Sabs, back to the hardship. But if he does, he can never come back to this garden, never see these other kids again. Or he can leave Caes here in this paradise knowing he's safe and happy. But he can never return either.
Oh, that's brutal. Leave him in comfort but lose him forever, or take him back to poverty. What kind of test is this?
It's agonizing, and Baba Aayub, he makes the decision.
He leaves him.
He leaves him, and the div calls it an act of mercy, giving him this potion.
A potion. To do what?
To make him forget. Forget the journey, forget the garden, forget seeing Caes happy.
So he won't suffer the memory.
He drinks it, returns to Maiden Sabs with no memory of what happened after he left, and then, like some kind of cosmic irony, the drought breaks that spring.
Things get better.
Yeah, the village recovers, things start growing again. Baba Aayub's pistachio trees suddenly do really well. Life finds a new kind of normal.
But does he ever remember or feel anything?
Not consciously. He lives to be an old man, grateful for his life, his other children, but sometimes he hears this faint sound.
The bell.
Like a tiny bell jingling. And he feels this pang of sadness, but he doesn't know why. A ghost of a memory he can't grasp.
Wow, what a story. Sacrifice, memory, loss. Okay, let's shift to the second narrative. Also 1952, fall. Abdullah and his little sister Perry.
Half-sister, technically.
Yeah.
And their bond is just immediately clear. Abdullah is incredibly devoted to her, very protective.
Especially since their mother died and they have a stepmother, Karuna.
Right. And Perry has this little collection. She treasures feathers, gives you a sense of her character, maybe a bit dreamy.
So it's a different kind of family love we see here compared to Baba Aayub.
Yeah.
Sibling bond.
Exactly. Facing different sorts of challenges. So their father, Sabur, he takes the 2 kids, Abdullah and Perry, on this trip to Kabul.
Why Kabul?
He's got a line on a construction job there, thanks to their step-uncle Nabi. The journey itself is described quite vividly, crossing the desert in a red wagon.
And the father, Sabur, he seems a bit harsh with Abdullah at first.
A little stern, yeah. But the text suggests he softens a bit during the journey. We also get these little flashes of Abdullah's memories, his mother's death, his relationship with the stepmother, Perwena.
Which sounds complicated. Moments of kindness, but always that feeling they aren't really her kids.
Exactly, that underlying tension. It makes you think about the dynamics there.
There's that really sweet moment about the feather, right? Abdullah trades his shoes.
Oh, yeah. His only pair of shoes. He trades them for a peacock feather for Perry, just to make her happy.
And she loves it.
Absolutely ecstatic. It's such a small thing, but it says so much about him, about their bond, a sacrifice in its own way.
Does it foreshadow anything, do you think? That act of sacrifice?
It certainly hangs there, doesn't it? Especially given what happens later. So they arrive in Kabul, big, bustling city, very different from their village, Shatbog.
And they go to this house, Mr. and Mrs. Wadi's place.
Right. Uncle Nabi works for them. And
Yeah.
the house is opulent, wealthy, elegant. A huge contrast to their life.
What are the Wadis like?
Mrs. Wadi comes across as, well, outwardly nice, but maybe a bit put on, artificial. Mr. Wadi is quieter, more watchful.
You kind of wonder what their deal is.
Definitely. Mrs. Wadi talks a lot about how much better Kabul is than the countryside, talks about dignity, and all the while, Uncle Nabi looks uncomfortable.
Like he knows something isn't right.
That's the feeling you get. There's this tension under the surface of all the politeness and generosity.
Then they go to the bazaar.
Yeah, Mrs. Wadi takes them. She buys Perry these bright yellow sneakers. Hints that Abdullah needs shoes, too, after giving his away.
But Abdullah gets upset seeing a beggar.
He has this strong emotional reaction. Maybe seeing that vulnerability triggers something in him, connects to his own sense of precariousness.
And then Mrs. Wadi says something strange to him.
Out of the blue, she leans in and says, please don't do it.
Do what? It's never explained.
No, it just hangs there, heavy, hinting at some decision or event that's causing her distress, but Perry's just thrilled with her new shoes, totally oblivious.
That contrast is stark.
Aha.
Her innocence versus whatever this heavy adult thing is.
Exactly. And then the story shifts back to their village, Shadbog. And the mood is grim.
What's happened?
Well, we find out implicitly. Their father, Sabor, is cutting down this old oak tree near their house, a real symbol of, cutting ties, loss.
And Perry.
No one mentions her. It's like the whole village is holding its breath, grieving quietly. Even the family dog Shuja seems mournful and eventually just disappears.
Like it mirrors Abdullah's grief. He's lost his sister.
Profoundly. We learn implicitly that Perry was left with the Wadis. Adopted, perhaps, sold. It's not spelled out, but she's
Right.
gone.
Oh, wow. So that's what Mrs. Wadi meant. Don't do it. Don't let your father leave her.
It seems likely that's the implication, looking back. A plea she couldn't make more openly.
And Abdullah keeps her feather box.
Yes, her little tin tea box with all the feathers. He even adds a yellow one he finds later, maybe from her shoes. It's his connection to her.
He must be devastated.
Deeply. And he decides he has to leave Shadbog too, after the winter. He needs to get away, find a new start somewhere else.
Escape the sadness.
Try to, anyway. But the story ends on this small note of hope, almost. Abdullah remembers a falcon feather Perry found back in the desert.
What does that signify?
Maybe the possibility of unexpected, wonderful things happening even when life is incredibly hard. That resilience, finding beauty amidst the sorrow.
So bringing this all together, these stories, they really hit hard on family bonds, don't they?
Absolutely. The strength of those bonds, but also how they can be tested, sometimes broken by circumstance or impossible choices.
And sacrifice. The sheer weight of the sacrifices made. Baba Aayub's choice, Abdullah losing Perry, even his shoes for that feather.
Right. And love and loss, they're woven through everything. How deep the love is, how profound the loss feels.
And that search for hope, even when things seem bleakest. That falcon feather.
Exactly. It's that glimmer. What's really fascinating, too, is thinking about how these two stories, set in the same year, might connect.
Yeah, they echo each other, like the title suggests. Baba Aayub's sacrifice, Abdullah's loss. Are they linked somehow?
The excerpts don't explicitly say, but it leaves you wondering, doesn't it? About the ripples from one life affecting another, maybe generations down the line.
It really does. It makes you think about the long-term impact of desperate choices.
And how kindness, or what seems like kindness, or even acts that feel cruel, can shape people's futures in ways you'd never expect.
So a final thought to leave our listeners with. What does it really mean to let go? Can you ever truly let go? Or do traces always remain, like that tiny bell Baba Aayub hears?
Yeah, what echoes from the past? It's
Yeah.
something powerful to reflect on, maybe even prompting a deeper dive into the full novel itself for those who want more.